I'm Kimberly Wilson, and this is a monologue from Christopher Durang's Laughing Wild. So, I'm trying to buy a can of tuna fish at the supermarket, and there was this person standing right in front of where I wanted to reach out to get the tuna fish. And so I waited a while to see if they'd move. But they didn't. And they were looking at the tuna fish too, but they were taking a really long time on it, like reading the ingredients on every can like it was a good book. But it was a pretty boring book if you ask me, but nobody has. So I waited a long while and they didn't move, and I couldn't get to the tuna fish cans. So I thought about asking them to move, but then they seemed so stupid not to have sensed that I needed to get by them, that I had this awful fear that it would do no good at all to ask them. And then they say something like, we'll move when we're ready, you bitch. And then what would I do? So I started to cry, naturally, out of frustration, but quietly, so as not to disturb anybody. And still, even though I'm right behind them, softly sobbing, this stupid person didn't grasp that I needed the tuna fish right behind them. So I just reached over with my fist, and I brought it down really hard on his head, and screamed, "Would you please move, you idiot?" And so then it was like this big thing, and this person fell to the ground and, looked totally startled, and then this child started to cry, and I was still crying, and by this point I couldn't even imagine using the tuna fish now, and so I just shouted at the child to stop crying. I ran out of the supermarket and grabbed a taxi, and I said, I need to go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and I need to be surrounded by art right now, and not tuna fish.